Hello YouTube, my name is Bon Kim, and this episode is kind of an episode of where I kind of toot my own horn and kind of give out an explanation of why I'm so good at strategy and how that can help uh, you or a movement or anything else. So, just so you don't have to look at my big pimple next to my nose all this whole video. Strategy's been around for a long time. It's very useful. It's not necessarily always about finding a way to win. It's finding a way to utilize kind of what you have against an opposing force, an opposing group, entity, whatever. I've I was a slow learner, right? Like I used to read only Garfield comic books until I was like 9 or 10, and then I started actually reading other things. And one of the things that I got really into was strategy and like Sun Tzu's Art of War. That was my one of the books that I always like to read because I want to get better at chess. Me and my brother would be playing chess all the time. He's 4.5 years older than me, and probably he's very smart. I'm not sure if I want to say he's smarter than I am, but he's very intelligent. So being 4.5 years younger, how am I supposed to beat him? He's got 4.5 years head start. Um, I was never so I'm always, we've always been pretty competitive. He would read up books. Uh, we both studied great chess players, notable ones like Bobby Fischer. World champion at that time was like Gary Kasparov. We would He would study openings, and I would just kind of look at openings and the variations, but I wouldn't memorize them. I'd like to do my own variations that wasn't seen, and it helps out. And I realized my strategy is about non-conventional strategy. It won't always win, but it'll put people off their game. So that's kind of how I like to employ strategy. And it's fun for me because I get to do things that no one would really want to think of because they wouldn't want to lose. They look for the best strategy at that time, best strategy for that, for what they have, and try to beat them with known strategies. Me, on the other hand, I would look for something innovative and new, something someone hasn't thought of before, and try to see how it does. So it helped in chess sometimes. Some really good ones, good players that memorize everything. I'm not sure if I'd be able to beat them. Like I go out sometimes and play with like these so-called chess masters that are over in like Harvard Square, and you pay them like $2, and if you win, they'll pay you like $2 or something like that. So I'll lose on purpose because I don't want to win any money, but that's just me. I don't care about winning. I care about how well I am strategically against other people. So from there, it went to video games because me and my brother played a lot of video games when we were younger. One of the ones we played a lot was Warcraft 2. You know Warcraft from like World of Warcraft, I'm sure. Warcraft 2 was pretty fun. That's when we started getting into playing each other. Internet, like BattleNet, stuff like that wasn't around, but there was local area connections where you could play within, groups of computers together within a network. Um, so we played a lot of that. Employed certain types of tactics within the game. I liked to do just a lot of fun things like set up traps and ambushes, and then my brother's armor would come, and I would polymorph them with wizards. I would make them invisible, polymorph them, things like that. He would, make transports invisible and then raid, things like that. So we kind of learned from each other. And so I started getting a little bit better, getting more involved in games. Um, Sometimes it goes back into strategy. Um, StarCraft was probably the first game where I entered. I made, I guess, a tournament. This was before BattleNet. That means BattleNet is multiplayer, um, um, kind of place where everyone could play each other online. This was way before then. So I would go to one tournament called Wizards of the Coast in Seattle, Washington, and everything was played in normal speed. Me and my brother always played at fast speeds, but to practice for the tournament, I memorized the three civilizations or nations, whatever. So there's Zerg, Protoss, Terrans. Don't worry, that's nerdy stuff. But I memorized each map that we're gonna play because they tell you which map. I memorized how long it takes to build going to a certain type of military attack, like either getting a air carrier over, air transport to transport military and land on another base. How long it would take for each map for each race. How long it would go direct to air, things like that. So, and also figuring out where the enemy placement was because the maps were symmetrical. So the tournament time came, and I was 4-0. Another person was 4-0. So, but it was based on points. So technically, I won. I didn't have to play the final game. But I said, no. You know, we're both undefeated. We should play against each other to see who the winner of the tournament is. So we played, and at that time, because me and my brother would play against each other on a null modem cable or whatever it was called, so we could play against each other. We didn't have local area network. I think it was too expensive, maybe. So I beat the guy. Like the average length of game time was about an hour. The limit was an hour and a half. I beat him in maybe like 10 minutes. I used a strategy my brother and I came up with. He came up with it first and then kind of perfected it. It's called the Photon Cannon Rush, and so I beat him with that. I chose random. He chose Protoss. It was a random map. I noticed what type of map it was, and that started. And so I won. That was my first strategy game where I won a tournament. So that kind of made me start playing another game called Age of Empires 2. Me and my brother would play so many games together, MMOs and things like that. So Age of Empires 2 is another game. I didn't start with the original Age of Empires. I didn't start with the original Age of Empires 2. I started with an expansion called the Conquerors. And I wasn't very good at it. I didn't think about strategy. A lot of it was build orders and things like that. But I was decent enough and I played it enough that when Microsoft was hiring for game testers, they already hired like some of the best players in the world, like original Age of Empires, the first expansion, I guess, Age of Empires 2. They had like the best or the second best players in the world, play testing that game from Microsoft. But they had 3 people and a test lead, so they needed to hire someone. My brother was working at Microsoft at that time, mentioned me. I got a phone call, interview, I passed. Basically, they were just saying they just need another 4th player so I could play and do game balancing issues on a new game called Rise of Nations from Big Huge Games. So I got really involved. I did a lot of play testing because a lot of things that I like to do is focus on exploits and just doing things that no one else would think of to win. Not necessarily winning wasn't my goal. It was just how I won, right? So when I played play balance this, I was beating the best players from other games. Just someone local. They just wanted someone to play with these guys. So, but I think I just got really involved. I really liked doing what I was doing. I like strategy. So I would release huge, like, summaries of play balance issues between different civilizations. There's like I don't know, 12 civilizations. There's a lot to play balance to get for multiplayer. Um, a lot of unit uh, balances that I mentioned. So when the game actually released, I still had a list, and I wasn't working at that time. I was just working contract. As you know, 2004, 2005, I was making like 16,000, 19,000 a year. Not very much. Um, so a couple things happened. Like we'd be working on this game for so long that a couple of the players just got tired. So when another group helped to test multiplayer issues, balance issues, there's this one guy who's one of the best of the original Age of Empires. He was beating all my other original teammates, and they were all just kind of fed up with, they didn't care for it because we were testing this game like 12 hour work days, and he was saying, actually, the manager of the whole play balance thing was saying, look, this guy, he just joined from another group and he's beating all y'all. It was like, I stood up for the team and I go, look, we've been playing this game, we're just tired, we don't really care about winning, we just want a game out and balanced. And he's only winning because he's choosing the second best nation. And I'm saying, if I chose the best nation, I would beat him, and who am I? I'm not the best in the world at anything. So they go, wow, yeah. Put your money where your mouth is. And I go, okay, $50 a game. I'll play for $50 a game, and I'll play to win. So they go, okay, it's on. So like, I'm nobody, so they don't expect to lose to me. So I play him. I beat him. Beat him with the civilization called Maya against his what I and our team said was the second most powerful nation, which was Spanish. So he uses Spanish, I use Maya, I beat him. I think it took like 40 minutes. And second game, he goes double or nothing. And I go, okay, double or nothing. So I played him again, same nations. I beat him again. This time I think it only took like 30 minutes. And instead of just beating him with an army, I just built nuclear weapons. You could build nuclear weapons in this game, and just nuked him to death. And then his last words was like the F word, the discriminatory word for gay people. I don't want to say it, right? And I just laughed. So I got paid $100. They knew where I was coming from. They didn't dispute my game balance issues, but they didn't change anything. It was a little bit late. So the game released, and I took a hiatus. I was playing poker with my measly earnings, trying to win money. That's another strategic thing. So maybe 6 months passed. There was the first tournament, and this tournament featured these players. At that time, PCA Frogman, he won the tournament, hands down, easily. This was 6 months. As you can see, he was like 33-0. He didn't lose a game, and I studied up on him. His games would last like 15 minutes. He's that good. I don't think anyone got past the 15-minute mark with him. So a second tournament came up, and then all my the play balance team, the team that I worked with, originally said they're going to be in that tournament. So I go, okay, I'll be in that tournament too. And mostly I just wanted to see if anyone came up with any legitimate strategies and seeing which civilizations were unbalanced. And so based off of what everyone was using, which was Spanish, because everyone thought Spanish was the most powerful, well, I used Maya, which I said was the most powerful. So I go to this tournament. No one knows who I am. I used El Capitan. Before that, I was Scrubs. That was my gaming name, Scrubs. Before. So I beat the second best player. I beat a couple of people. I beat PCA Nudie in the semifinals. He was the second best player. So PCA is a Japanese gaming clan back then. PCA Nudie was the second best player. So I beat him in the semifinals. And then in the finals, we played again. This time Maya, because no one knew about how strong Maya was, and Big Huge Games was like, Maya, you proved it once by beating a Spanish player with Maya, but we're not convinced that anyone's gonna use Maya to win. So I'm in this tournament. I think it was like a $500 tournament. So I played Frogman. First game, I used Maya. He uses Spanish. I beat him because I knew after 15 minutes he's not used to playing long games. He probably doesn't know what to do at the end game. So I just dragged out the end game. So the first game probably lasted like 40 minutes, and I just won on wonder points. And so second game came. This guy is so good. I mean, he was pretty much undefeated at that time. He chose Maya, and I was Maya. He didn't use Spanish. I barely won. He used the same strategy against me, but he still wasn't as used to it. So at that point, Big Huge Games realized, okay, so I had a valid point. And so they balanced the game on a patch, and Maya became the worst nation. They really underbalanced them. And then for Spanish, they kind of balanced them, so they weren't the best. So that's kind of my story for Rise of Nations. Now, at that point, when I got back into the community, I wasn't focused on winning tournaments too much. I just wanted to provide the community with alternative strategies that they can try to do. Not necessarily win every game, but it just brings out a lot of variety. And variety makes games fun, especially strategy games. So you can look up my gaming name, I guess, El Capitan. Rise of Nation is a game. You'll find a whole bunch of strategies that I wrote. You probably won't be able to see recorded games anymore. I did the same thing with Age of Empires 3, kind of played balance that game for a little while, and I took the same thing. I took a hiatus, like a couple months, just to see how people are doing with their strategies this time. Koreans, Koreans, gaming is really big in Korea. They were really, really good. Grunt was, I think, the best player at that time. I was probably up there, but I didn't care about winning. Every time I faced him, I would lose. I would just try out different strategies. He's playing like 12 hours a day games of this game, getting sponsored, probably getting paid like 100 grand a year. I'm not gonna spend my time when I'm making like 19 grand a year to focus on a game. So that was the Age of Empires 3. So and there's another game. It's not necessarily a strategy game, but it was called it was an MMO. It's called Massively Multiplayer Online Game. I think it was Star Wars Galaxies. And this game, you interact with a lot of peoples on the server. You interact with each other most of the time. And I got real good. I ended up being like the richest Wookiee medic ever, at least on that server. And that got me kind of thinking, you know what? If I really wanted to put my mind into something, I could really do something. So I spent a lot of time planning out how, my focus was to make money, because my options were limited, not having any money. So the last couple years, I went from making 16 grand a year in like 2004, and I think by 2011 I was in the six figures. So like about 6 years, I went from making 16 grand a year to six-figure salary. And that was because I formulated a strategy and I executed that into where I am today. So hopefully I can use this knowledge, my passion is strategy. I still play a little bit of games, but it's just on the side. I'll upload a couple of games and just showing you tactical situations. I just play like first-person shooters. Like if my team dies, it's 5-on-5. So it's 1 on 5. Sometimes I pull off, killing all 5 of the other people on the other team, because not necessarily because I'm good or really good at aiming or whatever. It's just uh, I've been in that situation before in other games. Um, Great friend of mine, we played a lot of first-person shooters, and he would. I remember once him and his team. I think it was Call of Duty, or it wasn't Call of Duty. It was the other one. I forget. But anyways, it was like 8 on 8. I think that's the max the servers could handle. So him and the entire team killed my entire team in like the first 30 seconds. So it was 1 on 7. But I pulled, or 1 on 8. So it was me against 8 others. No one else got killed on their team because I think they just all hucked grenades at the beginning. My team just rushed off. I ended up killing all of them 1 on 8 by myself, and that was the most amazing time ever. My friend just remembers that and was just going, that was just crazy. So, uh, you can pull off some amazing things with being able to think and be situationally aware and a whole bunch of other things. And this, I want to segue that into what a movement that's going on now. It's called Justice Democrats. It's started by TYT, Secular Talk. Kyle Kalinske talks about it, and I mentioned another video about it. And one of the things that I want to talk about to him as an ally. I'm not against this movement. I support it. I'm an ally. But there are some deficiencies within their strategy. And I want to go over that, and I'm going to go over that in another video. I just kind of wanted to introduce my history on strategy, even though it was on games. And I wasn't killing people in war and strategy. It was all games, but it was an outlet, and it helped me with getting to where I am today. So anything that I can do to help others formulate strategies to improve their life or improve the conditions of the country, etc., I'm going to do that. All right.